Hey, what's going on everybody, and welcome back. Today I'll be painting Azrael again. Hopefully we can finish him up today. Just to call this guy done. What's left? So I can go over what's left here really quick. I am currently getting a little bit of paint onto my palette. So some things that are left are this purple robe here, the white on the backpack. I did the white on the rest of the body, but the white on the backpack is still not done. And like the banner, you can see that the wings and such on the banner are not as highlighted as the rest of the white. Same thing with kind of the red on the banner. Is it white or gray? Currently it looks gray, but it will look white. It'll look more like the wings on the chest, as opposed to the gray that it is now. Hence why it's not done. Yeah. And then the sword. What else? A few touch-ups. I have to do this is a plasma gun here, so I'll do a little bit of a glow effect. And then should be a little bit of writing. So on each of these like seals, there should be a little bit of scribbling. And on the shoulder pad, I believe, I'm gonna try and write out his name, but we'll see how far we get. Alright, so right now I'm just doing a little bit of like a few touch-ups here. Just things that have been annoying me while I work through the painting of this model. I really should have done the highlights on the green armor first, instead of these white like insignias. on his arm guards, but I didn't. And so here we are. Okay. Now on to starting the highlights on some of the spots on the backpack. These again are going to be white, and so we'll be doing lots of coverage here. Covering a lot of surface area with these highlights. To make sure that the object reads as white when we're done. So you can already see, like, compared to the other side, this one looks white as opposed to this one looks gray. Okay. I'm gonna come in with our Griff Charger Gray here. Just does a little bit of a glaze to get a little bit more smoothness in our transitions, and to add some of that nice like light blue color back into our white. Alright, that's another shoulder pad down. Same kind of thing though. Come in with our light blue-gray contrast paint. Smooth out some of those blends. All right. Now for the banner. Same kind of steps, but it'll probably be a little bit trickier because I had to attach the banner earlier than I wanted to. We just have to ever so carefully highlight these wings. There's really not a good way to stabilize my hand. So one thing to take note of is that there's the banner is a little bit more complicated because there's texture on the banner, but also the banner itself is creased in places, and so even though there are places that might have texture popping out off the flag, they'll still be they still shouldn't be highlighted because it's in like the crease of the flag. So the flag is a bit more complicated to highlight than other pieces on the model. Makes it a little bit more interesting. And I'll come back through with a, with that light bluish gray contrast paint. To make sure I shade some of those areas that are, in the creases of the flag a little bit better. And of course I forgot to do the angel on top of the banner, which is also white. So I went ahead and pulled out some white paint that's a little bit thicker because the details on this like little angel at the top of the banner are quite small, and I was finding it hard to reach the smaller detail without getting white into the recesses. So a little bit thicker paint kind of helps you brush over the smaller recesses and only hit those raised areas, kind of like dry brushing, but a little bit more controlled. Alright, I think with that we're done with the white for the backpack, which is good. We had quite a bit of white on the backpack. So we're kind of knocking out a larger chunk of what we have left to do. Also, a fair number of the touch-ups that I had to do were white. And again, kind of nice to get those knocked out. Let's see here. I think I'm gonna do a little bit of the fire that's on the banner. And then I'll move to the rest of the red that I have to do. So we got these like there's like little flames at the bottom of the banner. We're gonna paint a nice little fire gradient, like red at the very tips, but mostly it is orange and yellows. I'll have to touch up that corner of white there. I realized as I was painting the white that I probably should have done this first. I think what I'm learning from this is that I should always just paint white last. But that's okay. Got our orange, now we start to bring in the yellows. Alright, now I'm going to come in with the contrast paints, as is my method. Love doing some contrast paint blending. Don't miss, yeah. I already have to do quite a few touch-ups because of this, but you know, it is what it is. Just the order with which I chose to do this for some reason. It's a very small area, it is. And that's why I was kind of putting it off, because I was like, oh, it's not even that big of an area, like. But I should have just done it, because it would have been less work. But anyway, you can see the nice gradient start to come in, where we have like a nice bright yellow at the bottom that leads into that darker orange and then fades into black at the banner. We can come in and touch up that corner now. And then also the angel on the banner. A little bit on his feet. Re-highlight things up a little bit. With the green. Nice. Now we can move on to the rest of the red. It's going to be a lot easier to paint than that really small area of fire. Again, looking more at some of the the wrinkles in the flag to kind of dictate how we're gonna highlight these parts. This is another time where we're going to be using paint that's a little bit thicker, just to make sure that we have extra control over where the paint goes. We don't want the paint to run off this very, very thin edge that we're painting. I'm just kind of cleaning up some of the paints off my workspace. Now that I'm kind of done with them. Trying to stay at least a little bit organized. Okay. We are on to kind of the last color here for the red. I'm actually gonna get out my super fine brush here to get some of this. While I was looking at some of the wings on the helmet and such, decided I had to redo some of these lines. Just some nice, really fine edge highlights on the feathers of the winged helmet to really emphasize that nice texture. The winged helmet is like one of my favorite parts about these Dark Angels models. So I take a little bit of extra time to make them look nice. A little extra work into the lenses here. try and put the smallest white reflection dot onto the Boof it, of course. Classic. Try again, see if we can not boof it this time. Yeah, that looks nice. All right, not bad. We're kind of cooking here. We're getting a lot done. To be fair, though, it was a lot of small things that we had to do. So I did expect it to get done pretty quickly. We're now looking at mostly over here living the American dream. Did you buy a house or something? With a white picket fence? Looking at houses I can't afford. Oof. Yikes. The new American dream, you mean? Not the classic one? Correct. Oof. Losing my desire to own property. I mean, yeah, you don't need to. I don't think. So yeah, I think the only things that I have left to do are like the plasma, the sword, and some highlights on the metallics. So I'm gonna go ahead and start up my airbrush compressor. I did get a new compressor. How's the noise? I think this one's a little louder than my past one. It's about the same? Okay. And it's not a big deal, right? Alright, cool. It won't be like this the whole time. So I do apologize, but I should invest in a headset that cancels noise. Maybe a fancy one? Maybe. Alright, my goodness. I am over here erasing my previous freehand practice though. I should really do this, you know, like once I'm done practicing. But it's like I worked so hard to paint it on that little base. It feels bad to erase it. But then when I need it, I'm like, wait. I need to wipe the slate clean. Turns out I'm just too bougie. Bougie? Oh. Is that how you spell that word? Because I'm pretty sure that says boogie. Could be wrong though. Coming in with a little bit of white ink here for the plasma effect. There you go. Oh, is it? I mean, that makes sense. Like, checks out. Hey, what's up, Deja? Deja Boo? That's actually so funny. What a username. How's it going? I'll take a second to kind of clean off or clean out my airbrush a little bit before I blast some white ink for this plasma effect. Doing good. Finish your first set of Space Marines. Nice. Feels kind of bad. It took me a whole weekend. Yeah, I mean, honestly, don't worry about the time too much. How many Marines did you do? And if you wish it would last longer, oh, got it. 4. First set of space. Which Space Marine set did you get that has 4 Marines in it? I'm trying to think. Usually they come in 5s. Well, yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed painting it. For me, this guy, this is my second week painting him. Oh, Infernus plus stars. Got it. Got it. So it wasn't 4 models. It was it was 4 units. I was confused. I was like, what? Yeah, 4 units. I was like, what? What box did you get that has 4 models in it? That makes a lot more sense. Hey, no worries. Yeah, so I've been painting this guy for. This is my second week painting him. I think I'm gonna finish him up today, maybe. But we'll see. We'll see. What chapter did you paint them? Or did you make your own successor chapter? Follow the box, so blue and bronze. Nice, nice. So Ultramarines, let's go. It's never a bad thing to follow the box art. It always looks good, guaranteed. Actually, I need to. I'm missing my handy dandy piece of paper. Bro, I had a whole stack of index cards. Where'd they go? Rip. I lost my most important tool, the index card. I'm more into the painting hobby, but might get into Warhammer 40k. Nice. I too am more into the painting hobby. I enjoy painting a lot, so I get exactly what you mean. If you want, Deja, I have a Discord. If you type in !Discord, you should be able to get to it. If you want to post some pictures of your models, I'd love to see what you did.
In which channel? Whichever one you want. A lot of people do, I think it's called Hobby Done. If you want to do that one, general. I don't have a whole lot of rules for my Discord, so wherever you want to put it. Work in progress is a good one as well. WIP. Sorry about that. My airbrush compressor is a little loud. Alright. You're in? Nice. Let me see if I can...
Let's see if I can pull these up real quick. I should really have my Discord, easier to see while I'm streaming. First time painting a Warhammer Space Marine? Yeah, have you painted other miniatures before? Tried D&D mini, didn't go well. Oof. It'd be like that sometimes. Lots of curves and small details posted if you want to check it out. Nice. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Maybe I should make that last a little bit longer, actually. Let's see here. Well, definitely don't want that. You know, actually I'm not seeing it. Maybe it's just taking a little bit to show up on my end. But I'll let you know when it pops up. That's what it says when you posted it? Yeah. Yeah, that's the last post I made. Maybe your needs to be approved, you guess? Interesting. I don't think I have any approval required. Might require a bit of debugging here. Troubleshooting to see what's going on with my Discord. Yeah, just try and resend it if you can. Sorry if you're having issues with it. There we go. Now it came through. Nice. Yeah, that looks really clean. That's big, actually. Especially since you're... It is a little dark, but like, I can see that you have like nice smooth layers, which is always yeah, like nice smooth layers and clean like transitions between your colors. Those are two big steps that like are really important for new painters. Paint consistency is always tough to get down. Had some trouble with the emblem. Yeah, like the Aquila. It is tough. It's especially tough since you have the big old gun right in front of it. Like it makes it really hard to paint for sure. Yeah, you painted it. Oh, you painted it before you assembled it. Okay. That is one thing that I like to do. I like to do a bit of sub-assembly myself. It makes it easier to paint. But I usually don't finish painting before I assemble. So like in this guy's case, I had the backpack and the banner I had separate. And you can see like he's not on his base. But like as soon as I get to the point where like I know it won't be a pain to paint around it anymore, I like to attach it. It kind of gets the model looking nice faster, essentially. The model looks sick. I know. This guy's one of my favorites. So this is a Dark Angel. And specifically this is Azrael, the Grandmaster of the Dark Angels. So he's a big deal. Hence why he's got the really cool banner and the winged helmet. This guy, he's the real deal. Do I like this guy more than the lava monster? That's a good question.
And one that I don't know if I have the answer to that question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much of a psycho is he? You know, I actually don't know. I haven't looked too much into how much of a psycho he is. But if I had to guess, I'd say probably an 8. Because that seems to be where most of the Space Marines fall, you know? Alright,
I hate having to use my airbrush on stream, but like, it's hard to get plasma that looks this good without it. So you just gotta kind of deal with it, I guess. You get a nice glow effect with just some white ink and like a contrast paint. Pretty nice and easy to do. Looks great. I wanted to ask about the airbrush. So when you put the blue color inside, are you mixing it with water? No, not really. I do put some of the flow improver in there. But you know, with the airbrush, because it's such a thin layer to begin with, you don't really need to dilute the contrast paint any more than just like the flow improver. Cause yeah, the contrast paint, to begin with, contrast is very transparent. Like, you're meant to be able to kind of see the color underneath. So the bright white with the contrast paint through the airbrush gives you like this nice, really light blue glow that you see here. So I think the last thing... Alright, I do have to do a couple more things before I'm done with him, like highlighting the metallics and stuff, but I think the next thing I'm going to focus on is the power sword here. So I'm going to mask off some parts here, and we're going to try and get a nice pattern on this power sword. Just trying to mask things off so I don't accidentally... I love watching people do the sword on these minis. Yeah, it's cool, and I'm trying a new technique here with the airbrush. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully it goes well. Hopefully it looks nice. If not, I should be able to just paint over it and start again. always blown away with how they do it. Yeah, it's a lot of. Some people are like really, really good at it, and it is really incredible when they get done. I'm gonna be trying to do a little bit of a. It should look more like steel when I'm done, as opposed to like the regular power sword, which is like a light blue. But again, we'll see how it goes. Trying something new here on stream, so hopefully it turns out.
Oops. The putty kind of stuck. Alright, so I'm going to be starting off with the primary highlight, which should be the largest and brightest highlight. So we get like a nice bright highlight there that we're gonna come back in with white to get it like even brighter. But also, you know, applying a little bit, because we're building up with black, you know, applying a little bit of gray further down the blade. Now we're going to come in here, and hopefully this doesn't mess it up. I think the paint is dry enough. And apply some on the bottom of the blade too. So that was our light gray color that we used. Now we're coming in with the white ink again. Because we heckin' love our white ink through the airbrush. It just gives such nice, soft highlights that that look really nice. Something a little bit like that. Starts to look a little bit metallic. Kind of messed that one up. I'm actually going to come back in with the light gray here to get the Now we look to do the other side here. This should be our last pass with the white ink here. Not gonna lie, the info about the Dark Angels is hella cool. It is. I really like the Dark Angels. It's a really interesting faction. And they have cool models to back it up. So like win-win, you know? Though you were thinking about trying Necrons next, you can't go wrong with Necrons. Necrons are great. They also have some great models, some great lore, like super interesting.
Let's wait for 60 million years so we can take over the world. Yeah. Yeah, the Necrons are really cool. They got some cool lore. They're really scary. Like it's one of the factions that like when Necrons show up, like there aren't really any other factions that like feel confident going into Necrons. A lot of times when Necrons show up, it's like, oh, that's it. That world belongs to them now. Like it's over. I read something about the space elf that says if you see a space elf, you better die before they take you hostage. Yeah, that's the. I think that's the Dark Eldar, the Drukhari. They are. Oh boy. The Drukhari are a bit crazy. Oh yeah, I mean it's just like a. Yeah, it's a psycho faction. Not that many of the Warhammer factions are good, right? But they're pretty bad. Yeah, and they're like slavers and stuff. So, not just about murdering everybody, but also like operating slave trade. Which is like gross, right? Oh yeah, the Emperor. Yeah, there aren't like I said, there's not really any quote unquote good factions in Warhammer. They're all just varying degrees of evil. Yeah, the Drukhari are pirates, but lots of they operate and get stronger based off of like inflicting pain on other people. So yeah, not great. No, on other people usually. Although I think it also works with their own people, which is like oof. But as far as I'm aware, they mostly just go around picking up people, selling them into slavery and like torturing them. So they're pretty bad. they're pretty it's not great.
Alright, one more time with the white ink. Trying to get these highlights to look as nice as possible here. Next, we're going to come in with a little bit of blue. Whenever I do these fine details, I get nervous. Yeah, it's always like, if I mess it up, I'll have to start over. But usually you can just be like, if I have to start over, I have to start over, right? Like, a lot of times you just think it's worse than it is. Just a nice little touch of blue into the blade here. It's your Achilles heel right now, but fair enough. Okay. All right. Kind of took the
rest of the time in the stream, but I think I have the sword in a pretty good spot. Just some nice reflections, a nice like bluish gray tint to make it kind of look like steel. So yeah, I have a few more things left to do on this. On this miniature, mostly the purple here on the like under robes, and then highlighting on the metallics. I thought I would be able to finish them today, but apparently not. Should be able to finish them off tomorrow though. So yeah, I appreciate everyone hanging out. Thank you again, Deja Vu, for the follow. And hopefully I will see you next time. I'm streaming again tomorrow at the same time slot. Noon to 2 p.m. Central Time. So hopefully I will see you then. Until then, I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Bye.